Bitcoin is not just a trend. Bitcoin is not just a trend. Bitcoin is a lifeline. Bitcoin would live. It would live forever. So we as an African, we are positioning ourselves as pioneers. The West would be inspired to also do the same from their own end. Understand? And in terms of building, I feel like education still remains one of the undeniable factor for adoption. So doubling down on the education would also help to drive adoption for all projects.
Hello, this is the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our guest today is Destiny Smart. He is part of the team behind Bitcoin Ikorodu, a project literally building Bitcoin as everyday money in Ikorodu, a vibrant area in Lagos, Nigeria. They are onboarding merchants to accept sats via Lightning, educating the community, running programs like Bitcoin Christmas events for kids, mapping spots on BTC map, and showing proof of work in action with real transactions for things like haircuts, printing services, and lunch. This is the kind of bottom-up work that's turning Nigeria, already one of the world's hottest spots for Bitcoin usage, into a showcase for how Bitcoin solves real problems: inflation, protection, fast cross-border value transfer, and financial inclusion without relying on broken fiat systems. Today, we will talk about their project and how Bitcoin is solving everyday problems in West Africa. Destiny, welcome.
Round of applause. This is very, very exciting. Thank you
Yes.
so much for the introduction. And I really want to appreciate you for giving us the platform for expression. I look forward to it.
Excellent. Yes, I was talking before in the previous stream with a guy from Cuba how the African Bitcoin circular economies and how the African Bitcoin community is growing so fast and doing such amazing projects. So I love to host the African people on my podcast. I hope I don't have so much time to go one each other running to invite. So if you are in Africa, if you have a project, just send me a message on X and we can set up a day to go into an episode. But Destiny, the first question is the first question that I do to everyone, and is, how did you arrive to Bitcoin? How did you take the orange pill?
Yeah, before I answer that question, I would love to share the opportunity to other people. So when we are done with this program, I will share your, account to other African builders so they can DM you, to be on this stage also. Thank you so much for that. Okay. So my path to Bitcoin was because I really saw Bitcoin as, way beyond investment scheme and everything. So when I learned Bitcoin through the core, which is a Bitcoin project also in Africa, right? I saw this need for Africans to, okay, implement Bitcoin on their daily life. So a project stuck with me, but I needed some people to give me advice, give me direction. So from there we began building like on the grassroots level, where we go to schools to discuss about Bitcoin, to the point where we are hosting online programs, through the collaboration of My First Bitcoin, to teach people about Bitcoin. So it all happened just because I saw a need for education to come into the system, because I believe once people are educated about money, they can make informed decision about their life. Because most people don't know that their current money is not really favoring them. So they need a mindset shift. They need something to bring them out from the abstract shadow. Okay, so yeah, that is a good summary of it. I hope that was clear.
Yes, and how did you started Bitcoin? I don't know the correct pronunciation. I think Ikorodu.
Yeah, Ikorodu. So Bitcoin
Ikorodu.
Ikorodu.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
Bitcoin Ikorodu didn't just begin straight up. We have a broader project called Bitcoin African Story, right? So Bitcoin African Story is an educational program, I mean project, that we are pivoting to like skill adoption as of now. But before now, we do host classes. Most of the grassroots works we do it under Bitcoin African Story right here in Ikorodu, right? But that alone has been like, like niching our project. Since we want to scale for Africa, we want to focus on things happening in Africa, not just in one community. So having built the trust layer with some people in Ikorodu, some merchants, some schools, we tried to create a circular economy on top of Bitcoin African story. So yeah, Bitcoin Ikorodu was inspired from Bitcoin African story works and was built on top it. And the aim of Bitcoin Ikorodu is to scale Bitcoin adoption in Ikorodu. Okay.
Ikorodu is a region in Lagos, the capital of Nigeria, right?
Abuja is actually the capital. Let's just say
Sorry,
that.
yes, Abuja. Yeah, yeah. Sorry for. But I think that Lagos is the biggest city of Nigeria, right?
Yeah, yeah. Lagos is the is one of the biggest city, and it's where businesses happens. Although other states are very awesome, but Lagos is one state you must never miss when you come to Nigeria because it is where life happens. You understand?
Excellent, excellent. And tell me about Bitcoin Ikorodu. What do you do? How do you teach people? Do you onboard merchants? How is the project working right now?
Okay, so currently we focus on Bitcoin. I mean merchant adoption, right? We are onboarding merchants. We are educating them, teaching them how to use Bitcoin and teaching them how to use like tools like Link Wallet and other tools that would enable them to earn, receive, and spend Bitcoin by themselves. So currently now we've gotten to like three merchants listed on BTC Map, and what we are noticing is that the urge of merchant, coming across saying, I want to list my project in Bitcoin, I want to accept Bitcoin. Like the request is already getting more than I expect. I plan to wrap up the year with five merchants so that we can have those merchants understand Bitcoin for what Bitcoin is and transact Bitcoin, P2P. But now it seems like the roadmap would have to be refreshed because we are having more than five merchants requesting to accept Bitcoin payment. So on ground, right, there's more of like a good acceptance, like a good like the people just want to use Bitcoin because they believe that because through due to the way we are pushing out the proof of work, merchants are saying that Bitcoin is money, and once they accept Bitcoin, they can it's more of like a new customer base for them because if you accept Bitcoin, I can leave my fiat accepting merchant and come to spend Bitcoin with you. So that creates a door for business opportunity for you. So on ground, it's more of merchant adoption. Education also is a big part of what we do, and very soon we'll begin our monthly meetups to enforce the education on the merchant so that they would really, really understand Bitcoin and ask questions, do their like come in to do their research, and we'll give them the vital information about Bitcoin. So we also host educational programs with schools, also churches. Also, we have a plan to go to reach out to churches to teach them about Bitcoin so that they can eventually accept Bitcoin for donations, offerings. Because I believe Bitcoin is money, and use cases like this would make it more undeniable that yeah, we can use Bitcoin for anything, especially here in Nigeria. So yeah, we are building on that, and yeah, there's a lot to also discuss, but for now, I'll keep it brief.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, I we were talking with the other guy that was before in our stream in Spanish that sometimes it's much easier to teach people what is Bitcoin by showing them how Bitcoin works, like showing a lightning transaction, a payment. Do you agree with that?
Since I have a personal experience with that. Okay, there is this merchant who we have been telling about, who we have been approaching to accept Bitcoin, but that merchant doesn't see the need for Bitcoin, even though we are like reaching out to him, throwing little education to him. He's very ignorant of Bitcoin. So this is what we did. we took that merchant to our onboarded merchant that accepts Bitcoin for aircourts. So what happened is that when that merchant who is very ignorant of Bitcoin saw that we are paying using Bitcoin for our aircourt, in that spot, the ignorant merchant is like, yo, Destiny, you guys should come on board me the next day. So so I believe that I believed in that, in just what you said now. So doing this is more of like showing is more better than telling. So they need to see the proof with their own eye before they can believe.
Yes. Besides, I think that there might be many scams with shit coins and all these issues that usually attack the people more in need. How do you teach them that Bitcoin is totally different to all the other shit coins or scams going on the crypto world?
So one thing I say is that when you are interacting with Bitcoin, and you must be specific that this is a Bitcoin only solution, right? If it's beyond being a Bitcoin only solution, then you should be like very suspicious of that. So for example, I got this haircut like today because I was preparing for this interview. I want to look good for this interview, right?
Excellent.
And the merchant we on board that's receiving Bitcoin for the haircut told me of something. He said, Destiny, are you aware of Bitcoin Ghana investment? I was like, what is Bitcoin Ghana investment? Because this is a scam project. This is a Ponzi scheme. So what I just told him was that, bro, anything that is not Bitcoin only, it is scam. You understand? So one way to approach this is for you to still do that education and still show them real world example, tell them real world stories, and offer to be there for them 24/7 for guidance. Because if they accept Bitcoin and opportunities like this come to them, and you are not available for them to ask questions, they can fall into it. So be there for them as a support system, educate them as always, and always ask them questions concerning, have they done their research on Bitcoin? If they say yes, okay, what is the research? I can put you through. So yeah, this is the way we come across it, because for in Nigeria there's a lot of scams that is even ongoing. So we just try to be very, very strategic when we are discussing about Bitcoin and Bitcoin scams.
Yes, of course. I think that also needs a lot of financial education to teach them that if something is too good to be true, probably it's not true, because maybe there are these kind of things that they promote. Okay, Ghana Bitcoin investment group, that you invest money and you get double money in 1 month. For sure, this is a Ponzi scheme. I think that this is the most difficult part, teaching people how to avoid the scam and teaching people what really Bitcoin is a store of value, a medium of payment. It's not a get rich quick scheme.
Like one way I do approach it is that money you are holding, like funds you are holding in your Bitcoin wallet, it's actually saving. It's not investing. You understand? So I try to bring that perspective of saving, right, before even thinking of investing. So Bitcoin rewards saving. Fiat does not reward saving. So throwing all these things to them and being there for them, like you can't just onboard someone and leave them. As a shepherd, you need to direct them. You need to be there for them, be their guardian, be their mentor. That is one thing about circular economy that I was very skeptical. That made me not to even reason circular economy at first, because I know being a circular economy runner, you need to be there for the community. So this and all more are what we bring to the table.
Excellent. And what tools do you use to onboard the merchants? Blink, Wallet of Satoshi, Lightning addresses. Which tools? What tools do you use?
So for now, we are very lean on tools, right? We are very lean. In terms of the tools for onboarding, we use BTC map to list the merchant. The merchant, receive Bitcoin through Blink wallet, and We also use Botme Cash. That is a Bitcoin only platform here in Nigeria. So
Excellent, excellent. And can you share some examples that the community used to pay in Bitcoin? Like, for example, a haircut. How many merchants and which type of merchants are accepting Bitcoin now in the community?
okay. So as I said earlier, there is a lot of requests for merchants who wants to accept Bitcoin. But for now, the goal is not to have a lot of merchants. The goal is for us to have merchants that understand Bitcoin, and are ready to spend, earn and circulate the Bitcoin around. Even though we also want to encourage savings, we want them to, really understand Bitcoin for what it is worth. So for now, we currently have three merchants listed on BTC Map, right? We have one merchant we do pay with sats, but we have not listed the person yet on BTC Map. And we also have like 5 to 6 requests from other merchants saying they want to be on board, but we have not attended to them yet. We believe if we can focus on small amounts or small numbers of merchants, we can grow the highest we can grow the highest elevation for them and for the community. So we have one merchant who accepts Bitcoin for aircourts. We have another merchant who accepts Bitcoin for used electronic, which is UK used electronic, and other items you can get, for other local items you can get. We also have one merchant that accept Bitcoin for printing and graphics service. That is a physical graphic store. So if I can show you something now, please permit me. So this is example. So we just printed this, the merchant sticker for us to post and pay instantly. And we paid for this service with Bitcoin. We did not use fiat. The merchant didn't touch fiat. It was directly P2P for the service. My haircut is also an example. I paid for this haircut using SAT, that's P2P, that is directly. And other stuff also that I can't, that I was not prepared to showcase as of now.
Excellent, excellent. And how do the merchants react when you approach them with Bitcoin? Are they hesitant? They point, of course, the scams we talked about before, but the volatility, or how do they react when you start approaching them?
Number one, some of them do not even know about what Bitcoin is. Talk more of the volatility. Why others knows about Bitcoin and they are aware of the volatility. So it depends on the kind of merchant you meet. So, like for example, when we met the airport merchant, before even meeting him, I tried to build a bond with him. You understand? I had to build this physical human bond with him in terms of like customer to clients relationship. Then I began pitching Bitcoin to him little by little, educating him before he was like, okay, he wants to look into it. So, but at first, he wasn't so harsh on us. But there are some people who will meet, they'll be like, no, 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 no. They have been scammed for a lot of times. So that is why these merchants we are working with now are very, very useful. Once we've gotten to that point when we can use Bitcoin is being used like every day by those merchants themselves, tally with us that would come to spend to them and other Bitcoiners that would come later in the future. Those people that are skeptical can also come in and see this secular flow and hear the stories of the merchants, and they would also, accept to, be using Bitcoin. So it depends on the merchant themselves, but the one we've met, they are very, very good to go on Bitcoin.
Yes, and also I think that besides the merchants, you need to educate the people, because you can have 1,000 of merchants who accept Bitcoin, but if the people of the community don't use Bitcoin, it's difficult to create this circular economy. Do you also teach people, or you just teach the merchants and let the people who use Bitcoin go to them?
Funny enough, in the entire Ikorodu, right? I'm not sure. I've not even seen one Bitcoiner yet. But there are Bitcoiners. There are Bitcoin only people, but I've not come across one, yet. But I'm hoping I do. So it's more of like even the people that are accepting, like that are spending their sats, they directly came through our interaction with them. So Bitcoin Equity is not only focused on the merchants, we also focus on educating the people. That's why I said very soon we'll be bringing up meetups, monthly meetups to reach out to the people, so we can show the people that these are merchants, right? You can come in and see for yourself. You can come in and experience what it means. Like it's not just to talk about it; it's to also show you. So yeah, we are still growing to that phase. But for now, we are looking at merchant, but we are also talking with people about Bitcoin. But when it comes to the meetup level, we are going to also integrate that, very soon, very, very soon.
Excellent. And you talk. I read about the Bitcoin Christmas event in the community. How was this event?
Well, the event was a very nice one, and Bitcoin Equity is not just me. I have team members, so they are the one that came up with the whole idea of the Kids Bitcoin Kids program, Christmas program. So I was like, we need to host a program this Christmas. You guys should like formulate the idea. So they brought the idea, they brought it to me. I reviewed it, then we all put mind together and we formulated a program. And the Bitcoin Christmas program is all about gathering kids together, educating them about Bitcoin, giving them fun quizzes, also hosting them, giving them some gifts so they can feel happy for Christmas, and also having a kind of incentive system whereby you ask them questions, they win some rewards. Then once they've accumulated the rewards, right, they can choose to go spend that SAT, because we are rewarding them SATs. We're not rewarding them Naira. We're rewarding them SATs. So they will choose to spend those SATs at different merchants that are already onboarded as of then. So it was a successful event. We had the kids go spend their SATs at the available merchants as of then. But we look forward to having more programs like that, because that alone created like good amount of engagement in the community.
Yes. Do you think that these events are better than just doing a meetup and teaching Bitcoin? I think that these events are better.
Yeah, in terms of circular economy approach, I feel like these kind of events are better. Get people together, teach them Bitcoin, let them win some sats, then take them to the merchant to spend those sats directly. I feel like this is a format circular economy should adopt, not only us or we.
Yes. And how did the kids react when they receive Bitcoin? What did they say? How old were the kids?
Well, we had kids from the age range of 10, 10 to 15, and it was a very very limited sports program. So we didn't have enough funds for us to host a huge amount of kids. So we were like, less word of mouth. Let us just do it focused on small amount of people, right? So those kids were like 10 to like their age range was 10 to 15. So that was not some of them first encounter with SATs, because we do host kids program. Remember, we do host student program. So they were part of those students that we've met in schools, right? So some of them were from there. While others, some just few amount of students were new to Bitcoin. So those students that accepted Bitcoin for the first time, they were very, very astonished. They were like, even there was there was this scenario, like there's this kid that didn't win SAT. He was even crying, he was shedding tears because he wasn't able to win SAT. Because he knows what SAT is what. He knows the value of SAT. You understand? So yeah, the kids really, really loved the experience, and they were even requesting for more of this activity.
And do you also tell me about the program of the schools? You go to the school and teach the kids about Bitcoin.
Okay, in terms of the program with the school, yeah, we go to schools and we teach the kids about Bitcoin. And an impact that has come out from that is we currently have a school exploring how to integrate Bitcoin payments to their school. So that means they want to start accepting Bitcoin for school fees, for tuition fees, and for other fees for their for kids. And they're also looking at accepting Bitcoin donation also for the school to build the school to have more infrastructure for the kids. So the impact there is very, very amazing. And for the kids, the kids, because that was we termed the program financial literacy. So we taught the kids about, fiat, the finance, importance of savings, Bitcoin. So it was more informative for the kids. And the kids also, learned a thing or two and also won some rewards in SAT, and also stickers and other stuff. So yeah, it was a very, very fun one. And we have a plan to reach out to more schools for the year, for this year. Yeah.
Excellent, amazing. And I'm talking about the when you go to the schools to teach them, the teachers are friendly, are a little bit hesitant that you're going to teach Bitcoin to the kids.
Yeah. So first thing first, before we go to the school, we first speak to the management about it, right? So when we speak to the management, we explain what Bitcoin is to the management. Few teachers would be there, they would understand what we are saying. So that means they won't give us any room for any weird behavior. But some of them we are against it, right? So that's why we had to move straight up to the management because the management owns the school, not them.
Excellent. And talking about the community, did
Okay.
you seen any improvement in the community, or it's still too early to evaluate the impact of your projects in the community?
So in the community level, I'd say it's too it's early though. Oh, yeah, it's early. But in personal level, like for the merchants, I'm sure seeing like an improvement in that angle. Like right, because here in Nigeria, it's somehow difficult for everyday merchants, right? But receiving Bitcoin payment gives them that streams of income that they can actually save. So we've got merchants saving their sats instead of choosing to sorry, let me not be against fiat though, but instead of them choosing to save their fiat, they are like, no, I would use fiat for my business. I would save the Bitcoin. So that alone has been a big improvement for them.
This is amazing because if they save in Bitcoin, that is the most powerful money that have ever existed, and it gets appreciated with the time. This will came with a lot of improvement for them, and especially I think that Nigeria is still early for all the BTC fi, the DeFi things, but when these things arrive to Africa and they can get loans backed by Bitcoin to improve their business, of doing bigger stuff or providing a good service, I think that we can see the improvements in real life. I have a there is a, in 2 weeks I will host a podcast with a Argentinian bakery shop that they increase the bakery shop using Bitcoin backed loans with Tropicus. That is a very good platform that they use in Latin America. So, but yes, of course, if they are able to save and in Bitcoin, this would be amazing in a couple of years for everyone. And talking about the regulations, Nigeria has a regulatory ups and downs with Bitcoin. How has affected this your job on education, or the government doesn't care and you can do whatever you want?
So sorry. So when it comes to the regulation angle, that is one thing we cannot, nobody can run from. although the Nigerian regulatory environment around crypto and Bitcoin has gone up and down, right? So there are some times where bank would like restrict um was restricted with working for companies, crypto companies, and even in this recent policy, it shows that it shows that as a Bitcoin builder, you need to be sure of what you are doing. So if you are doing Bitcoin building, you need to know everything about policy. Like you need to know the country's policy, and you should try your best to, you know, be smart about the policies, right? Because one thing about this about the government is that no matter how we can, do something, if the government is against it, that's a big that won't be fun doing. So in a way, what we're doing is that we are looking at the policies, how best we can be safe, or not even be safe, how well we can, edge some stuff. But for now, on ground, in terms of local grassroots Bitcoin adoption, there has not been so very much policy against it. It's more of like the broader crypto VSP, crypto companies, custodian services, but local grassroots movement and adoption, we are still watching out still.
And what are the biggest difficulties you found while running these projects?
Okay. So before I answer that question, I just want to make this point. So we are building at community level. We are not running an exchange, or we are not asking people to break the law. So I feel like we are doing things like P2P. So I feel like that would keep us resilient even when policy might even change. So when you ask this question, what is the biggest challenge? I feel the biggest challenge down here is the biggest challenge I'm seeing down here is building is it's I won't lie, it's more of like in terms of funding, right? So there are a lot of activities that needs to be done, a lot of meetups that needs to be done. So I believe in terms of funding, when there's enough funds, we can create programs for the merchant, possibly even have our own version of the Bitcoin loan. I've thought of the Bitcoin backed loan in a way, but looking at implementing it in what we do locally, it would make good sense. So a way which we can provide programs, services, programs, activities, at a community level to invite the entire community to, experience Bitcoin. That would be very much. And also in terms of like um, getting the right team member, right? Because as a non-profit, not everyone would love to work for free. So building this community project with few people is good, but when you have good hands at deck on deck, that would be very, very fantastic. So those two are more of like the challenge. But when it comes to relating with the merchant, I feel like the way you approach the merchant matters a lot. So for example, I am very, very respectful to everyone. So I won't expect a rude response from you because I didn't come with a rude energy. So when it comes to merchants, I'm okay with that. I can take on the heat, but those two are like challenges that currently we're facing.
And also in the technical side, with because I heard that in Africa you have issues with internet, sometimes electricity, or these issues are not a huge problem, bigger than the other problems that you pointed.
Well, we are not doing like digital stuff. Normally they will need to have a Bitcoin wallet, but um, there's always there's always an alternative. Once there's no light, we get gen, right? That also is a problem though, but speaking from experience, because we as a Nigerian, we know how to combat, we know how to, create alternative to all these problems. So yeah,
And
personally.
from and do you need, as you told about the funding side, are you receiving help from any organization related to Bitcoin, any other African community, or how did you get the funding for your project?
Well, initially we didn't start with any fund, right? We didn't start with any fund, so it was majorly just building. Until not until we got the second wave of grants from Bitcoin Beach. So that really helped us, to kickstart what we're doing and to showcase the proof of work very frequently. So big shout out to Bitcoin Beach and Federation of Bitcoin Circular Economies. So yeah, so that are the projects we are working with, and now we are also part of the CPAF project in Africa. So that is also a great collective community of African builders, right? They have been so very, very supportive for our works.
Excellent. Have you ever heard about Bitcoin for Humanity?
Yeah, I've heard of Bitcoin for Humanity. I see their posts at times. Yeah.
Because I can connect you with them. They are I know the founders, so they are Argentinians like me. So I can send your contact and let you know that what you are doing, and they can contact you because they support circular economies, and they help them to grow. In fact, they wrote a book about circular economies. So and any other which other African communities are you use as an inspiration? Because there are
Bitcoin
many.
Ekasi. Ekasi, those guys are doing crazy. Like they're doing like something very, very amazing. Bitcoin Ekasi. I would be honest. And also in Nigeria, Bitcoin Anambra, Bitcoin Calabar. There's a lot of circular economies to get inspiration from. Even Bitcoin Beach on its own is very, very awesome. Like those guys. Since you mentioned Africa, I had to like focus on African builders. So yeah.
Yes, I talked with Bitcoin Ekasi long time ago. I have to call them again so we can talk about their project again. I think that their project is super well developed now because I didn't met I saw him, the
Already.
Herman
Yeah.
in Lugano when I went to Lugano conference in Switzerland. He was
Wow.
there. I was about to go to say hi, and he went to another place. I think that he was going to give a speech, but I will call him to be in our podcast because yes, Bitcoin Ekasi is the first. I think that they were the first community from Africa that I spoke with, and they are doing a great job there in Muscle Bay is in South
Yeah,
Africa.
Mozambique. Yeah.
Muscle
Shout
Bay.
out. Yeah, shout out to all builders, man. Everyone is doing a great job. But
Yeah, also I see strong communities like in Bitcoin Ekasi. Then in Kenya there are huge Bitcoin communities like the Court, BTC Dada.
yeah,
Also, I spoke with some in Zimbabwe. The other day, I spoke with guys from Uganda that are doing recycling of glass. I have a lot of podcasts recorded that I stream. I need to upload them. I didn't have time, so I will start uploading this week so everyone can enjoy the previous podcast with the guys from Africa. But yeah, I know there is a huge. I'm in a WhatsApp group with Africans that they are doing a huge job there. And um and how do you see, when we talk about the future, how do you see Bitcoin Ikorodu in, let's say, 1 to 3 years? What are the objectives?
so 3 years time, I want Bitcoin Ikorodu, or we want Bitcoin Ikorodu best to put, to be sustainable on its own, right? We don't need to be there for the circular economy to keep on thriving or to grow, right? So in the next 3 years, possibly, on God, Bitcoin Ikorodu would be moving forward without destiny, without the current builders. It would just be going forward organically. And the number of merchants would expand, the number of impacts would expand also, and the number of community involvement would also increase. And hopefully,
Excellent.
hopefully, with what we are doing, who knows if possibly it can, affect some certain regulations, because I believe if people tend to come and check what we're doing, Spencer, see how it is going around, they would surely understand that Bitcoin is just money. Bitcoin is not a dangerous asset. It's just money. You can use it, you can spend it, you can live on it. So yeah.
And besides all the hype that is involving Bitcoin, that of course all the lights of the Bitcoin community are posed on the treasury companies, the ETFs, the developing on of new tools on top of Bitcoin. How do you think that how African circular economies could influence global Bitcoin adoption, other parts of the world? Because I know that I agree with I like what the job that you are doing is really inspiring. And how do you think that Africa Bitcoin communities can inspire the world to hyper Bitcoinization?
For example, like anyone that comes to Bitcoin and Kasi from the West would be like, wow, I love this. I want this to happen in my own part of the world. So seeing all these impacts, seeing all these proof of works we as African builders are putting out, you know, surely it would inspire changes in even in places like the West, US, Canada, places like that, because Africa has a problem specified for Africa, right? And US also, like the West also, they have their own problem. But when they see how we as builders, we as African community builders or African builders in general, are using, are like creating solution for these problems with our bare hands, like with our bare hands, they will be inspired. And I'm sure when, you know, we go like what we are doing go mainstream in terms of like maybe BBC coming to check out what all builders are doing, or big publication doing, coming to check what we're doing. Other countries will sit up, because Bitcoin is not just a trend, right? Bitcoin is not just a trend. Bitcoin is a lifeline. Bitcoin would live. It would live forever. So we as an African, we are positioning ourselves as pioneers. The West would be inspired to also do the same from their own end. Understand? And in terms of building, I feel like education still remains one of the undeniable factor for adoption. So doubling down on the education would also help to drive adoption for our project.
Excellent. And talking about Bitcoin, how do you see the future of Bitcoin?
Massive adoption, bro. Massive adoption. Massive. Very, very massive. Mainstream. Bitcoin is going to go mainstream. It's going to go mainstream. Like big companies are going to integrate it. Filling station, like every corporation would integrate it. Even fintech apps, banks. Funny enough, Nigeria banks are even looking at integrating Bitcoin, right? Some banks are looking at integrating Bitcoin. So in the future, it's going to be massive. And I'm glad to be building on Bitcoin at this stage.
That's the point. We are super early, and we are writing the history of Bitcoin. And the last question is, if you had the chance to sit down with Satoshi Nakamoto, what would you ask or say to him, to her, or to them?
I have two answers to this question. Please forgive me, Bitcoin community, if this sounds funny. But the second one is my real answer. First of all, the first funny answer, I'm just creating it, is funny. Please, Satoshi, give me your seed phrase. Yo, give me your seed phrase. You know, that's the one. Then the second question, the main question I will ask him is that I won't even ask him anything. I will just thank him, like thank him for the very, very important, life-changing opportunity to humanity, for what he created and he also left. And that alone means so very well for humanity. So I'll just appreciate him, thank him, yeah, and hope for us to like build more better solution for on that Bitcoin with Bitcoin. Sorry.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Anything else you want to add, and how people can contact you?
Okay, guys, I really appreciate this opportunity, and I want to say a big thank you. You a big thank you to the Bitcoin Libertarian. What's your name,
Yes,
sir?
My name is Fernando. My name is Fernando.
Awesome. So you mean any Fernando in Bitcoin are like big, very big people. For example, we have Fernando from Bitcoin Brazil. Do you know about him?
I heard about him, but I don't know him in person.
You have to meet him because you guys are behind two powerful names, Fernando. So yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Fernando. I really appreciate the opportunity. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, and I look forward to joining more of these. Expressing my thoughts and sharing the stories of what we are building at all platforms. So thank you so much for this. So if anyone wants to reach out, you can reach out to Bitcoin Ikorodu. That is Bitcoin IKIRODU on Twitter, right? And also on the Twitter platform, we have our crowdfunding link there, whereby you can check the crowdfunding link to see our updates and choose to support what we're doing. If you are pushed or if you are led. But in all, I say a big thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity you've given me. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and still keep building on Bitcoin. That is very important.
I think that this is really important. Destiny, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I always said I hope to talk to you in a few months and see how the project is evolving. I say to everyone, if you want to talk, just send me a message and we can find a time spot to talk, because I love talking about Bitcoin and the channel is for Bitcoiners to keep spreading the word. Let me do one advertisement. I will be speaking in May, 29th of May, in Bristol, United Kingdom, at Bitcoin Treasury and conference organized by Smarter Web Company. If anyone wants to attend, go to Smarter Web UK in the Twitter, and you can go there, enter to the website, and buy your ticket. We will be there. I'm so excited for that, because it's gonna be my first time speaking in a conference in English, and together with a very huge lineup of top people of the industry. I hope to contact them so we can do a lot of interviews and keep providing content and building on Bitcoin. It's going to be 29th of May in Bristol, United Kingdom. So I'm so happy to go there. And I hope someday I can go to visit Africa and all the amazing projects that are running there. Destiny, again, thank you for your time. Have a great day. And again, let's talk in a while so I can see how the project is evolving.
Yeah, and everyone, please make sure to follow this guy account. It's very awesome. You would see a lot of quality content and quality information and stories here. Thank you so much. I also love your content, man. I do watch the live streams and everything. So yeah, keep it up.
Thank
You're doing a
you.
great job. And
Thank
God
you very
bless you for
much.
Bitcoin. Cheers, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who is on the other side. If you like the episode, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, because doing so, you help us a lot in our task of painting the world orange. Share this episode with the people you love. Share this episode with the people you hate, because we must give the orange pill to 8 billion people. See you in the next episode of our podcast. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi.
My screen, I saw it all start. Bitcoin, a code, a new kind of art. How were you?